Good morning, Chennai. This is Metro Mornings. You're with me, Jane, on Chennai Live 104.8 FM on platform today with a very special guest. This is Sangeeta Banerjee, and she comes in from ApartmentADDA. Now, ApartmentADDA is India's leading portal for apartment and villa communities. It provides a private and secure portal to each apartment community, and that's called its ADDA. Now, every ADDA has tools for communication, management, maintenance billing, accounting, and payment gateway as well. Now, bringing convenience to apartment residents and efficiency to the association. The best part being the cost to an apartment community it's just rupees 20 per household per month, and everything can be taken care of. Well, good morning, Sangeeta, and welcome to Metro Mornings.
Good morning, Jane. Good morning to all the listeners.
All right.
It's awesome to be here on Chennai Live.
Thank you so much. ApartmentADDA.com. The name itself, has a very interesting ring to it. Tell us, how did the name come about?
See, I being a Bengali, Adda is something on all our mind, and the meaning of Adda is an intellectual exchange between people of same social background or economic background. And what we provide is a portal which primarily works as a collaboration platform or information exchange platform for residents within a same apartment complex. So they all hold a stake in that property, and they want to make it the dream home of theirs, together. So it made sense to call it their Adda, online. Yes,
all right. So
all.
it's basically any community. It could be a closed gate community, a gated community, whatever it is, as long as, you live with the community. How do you manage everything with a very easy system, right?
Exactly.
What kind of things could you manage through ApartmentADDA.com if you subscribe?
Sure. So think of a gated community like a small little city of yours. So all these residents, they need to communicate amongst each other, like finding local information, sharing issues they are facing with their property and things like that. So it provides this online forum that they can discuss on. It has an online notice board. So the management committee of the apartment complex can easily send them alerts, important alerts, due reminders and things like that. Secondly, it has a complete facility management suite. So, if you're talking about a large apartment complex, they have crores worth of common assets like elevators, gym equipments, transformer, generator, and so on. So, the preventive maintenance of these is very important. At the same time, the management committee cannot afford very big staff. They would have like one manager, and he has to manage everything. So, this facility management suite helps you list all these assets, set up reminders, email and SMS reminders that will remind about the preventive maintenance that is outstanding. It can also do visitor tracking. So that is a very important aspect about living in a gated community, is the perception of security, that you can have your own security guards and things like that. So this has a visitor tracking tool in the facility management system. It has things like help desk management. So if the residents want to lodge a complaint. So I am a very busy person, but I realize that there is seepage in my flat. So I don't want to walk into the society office when it opens after 10 a.m. and things like that.
All you need to do is just go key in your complaint.
You can do it right from your mobile. So we have a mobile app as well. So you just key in your complaint. And the manager, whenever he comes to office, he picks it up and gets it done. And the best thing is that the management committee can supervise it from wherever they are.
Wow.
So that's
this
part
makes
of facility
it very,
management.
very simple for everybody involved. Lots more interesting conversation coming up on the other side. Stay tuned and stay happy. Good morning, Chennai. This is Metro Mornings on platform today. We have a very interesting guest. This is Sangeeta Banerjee, a cheerful, enthusiastic manager seeing to various details while patiently responding to the innumerable questions from her noisy and sometimes demanding customers. And when we're talking about customers, these are customers who log on to ApartmentADDA.com. A .com that has been up and running for 5 years now. It's India's leading portal for apartment and villa communities. Now, it provides a very private and secure portal to every apartment community, and that's called its ADDA. And each ADDA has its own tools for communication, for management, for maintenance, billing, accounting, and a payment gateway as well. So whatever it is that you want to do within your community or set of apartments, you can manage it. And for every apartment, who's enlisted on this particular .com is needed to pay only rupees 20 per household per month, which is a really interesting way of going about it. Well, Sangeeta, welcome back to Metro Mornings.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So tell us a story of one, of the exciting customer experiences that you've had across the country in the last 5 years.
Sure. So when we started off, we realized that every apartment complex has a pet issue. You know, for some people, it is help desk management. That we are a 800 apartment complex, and people are very proactive when getting common issues resolved. Like they just can't stand if there's a loose cable hanging around. They will not ignore it. They will make sure it gets resolved. So for them, managing those incoming complaints, getting those resolved in time, and all was a big deal. For one very interesting villa community in Bangalore. It's one of the best villa communities to live in. They had a problem of domestic staff management.
Okay.
So there are 500 villas, and each villa on an average has 5 domestic staff, like a maid, a cook, a gardener, a driver, and let's say a babysitter. So, within those 500 apartment complex, you have 1,500, or rather 5 into 5, 2,500. 2,500 staff who is coming in and going out every day. So this was a big deal for them to make sure the place is secure. They have identified each and every person who is working there along with their address proof and things like that. So this was a big problem for them. And in ApartmentADDA, we actually had something called domestic staff manager. This was a big draw for them, and it was a super hit. So they made it a process that every owner, it is their responsibility to enlist the staff in the association office whenever they start working.
All right.
And today it is a law actually across cities that whenever a domestic staff starts working in an apartment complex, their details should be registered with the association. So it's now enforced by the police. So like this, every apartment complex had some interesting requirements which ApartmentADDA could fit in. There was one very interesting case where, again a villa community, and how villa communities are, each villa looks very similar. So there was this gentleman, a senior citizen, who had a little bit of a memory issue. So this person went out for a walk around dusk, and he totally forgot which is his house, and he did not remember the house number. He was visiting his son there. And so there he is asking the security that, find my home. And they're like, which is your home? He's like, yeah, all of these look same, right? So they are lost. So now what they do is that the association office sends out an SMS broadcast to everyone. So immediately all the residents get an SMS that such and such person is not able to find.
Wow.
And that's it. The connect happens immediately.
All right. So if you're lost and you don't have your mobile phones and you're stuck and every house looks the same, well, what do? ApartmentADDA.com is where you need to possibly be on. And if you're within a gated community and you're looking at somebody who can technically manage all of your issues, that's where you need to go. Lots more conversation coming up on the other side. Stay tuned and stay happy. Good morning, Chennai. This is Metro Mornings. You're with me, Jane, on Chennai Live, 105.8 FM. Well, on the show today, on platform, we have a special guest. This is Sangeeta Banerjee, who comes in as a very, very happy and very morning person. And she's talking about a very interesting initiative called ApartmentADDA.com. And it is the brainchild of 2 engineers from College of Engineering, Guindy, Chennai. And, they had high experience in ERP consulting and developing high-performance web solutions, and that's how ApartmentADDA was born. It eases the stress of managing a modern housing society through transparency, efficiency, continuity, and stability. So the idea came from a need for an integrated billing, accounting, and online management software for multiple dwelling units, which is MDUs, that was conceived when the 2 engineers, Venkat and Sangeeta, moved into their first apartment in the year 2006. Now, as like other enthusiastic first-time owners, they too decided to see their apartment complex a paradise to come back home to every evening. But things were not what they dreamt of. Every evening meeting ended with discussions that, were not really resolved with regard to all of the other owners. And that is how in 2008, ApartmentADDA.com came about, a one-stop portal to MDU owners. That is how it was born. Well, Sangeeta, welcome back to Metro Mornings.
Thanks, Jane.
Tell us, how is it being married to a South Indian? You're Bengali. How does the meeting of minds, work out for you?
I think it's inevitable when you're in College of Engineering, Gindi, and surrounded by a lot of brainy South Indians.
Right.
You got to fall for one of them, I guess.
Yeah. So did you go through a process of iteration, or did you just land up with the right one?
No. It happened much later. It's just the connect happened.
Never happened in college?
No.
Okay.
It's a very it was a very conservative place, like 15 years back.
Right.
I'm not sure how
it is
open
today.
It is now. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So how did it happen? How is the love story?
It's pretty much, you start relying on somebody for a lot of, you start trusting someone for a lot of decision making, and, you just become best friends. That's how it happened with us. And then you're like, okay, why not be best friends for life, So
that's how you made a decision. So when did that switch foot happen? When did that decision happen? Much later after college?
3 years of college, yes.
3 years.
Yes.
So you were friends all through?
That's right.
And then you got your apartment, and then what happened? What were some of the issues that you guys faced?
We faced in our apartment complex?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we were one of the first 5 or 6 families that moved in. And in that situation, the apartment complex is still being baked, there is no permanent water supply. The lights are like dimming because it's a single phase connection. The pool is not ready. Landscaping means it's just a pile of mud and things like that, right? So you have lot of issues to be resolved with the builder. And the builder would say something different to each owner.
Right.
And they would hate for the owners to all get together and gang up on him, right? And that's exactly what we want to do.
Was this something in Chennai?
No, this was in Bangalore.
This was in Bangalore.
Yeah,
so you guys decided to get together and do something about it.
Yeah, but we were doing it on a Saturdays, and we have these long meetings on Saturdays. Instead of spending time with our family and kids, we are sitting talking to owners about these issues, and they're almost always off track. Because you don't have a manager or a meeting moderator who says, hey, come on, get back on track, right? So we were not getting much done. So we're like, these discussions can happen throughout the week. Why not get an online, let's start collaborating online. So that was the starting problem of getting together towards a common goal of how we can make this apartment complex, really a beautiful place to live and have the builder fulfill all his promises. That was the start. But then the journey unfolded other things.
So did you quit your jobs, both of you, to...
Venkat did, my co-founder, a partner did, but I did not. I was still working with SAP for a year while this was being built.
Right.
Then I quit.
After that you quit. So one of you had a steady job for 1 year while the business went up.
Yes. We had an EMI, right? We bought an apartment.
So for the 5 years that you've been, how has living changed for people across the board? Every city, you say, has its own problems, but lifestyle and luxury living in itself has graduated. Tell us a little bit about this change that's happened and how it has helped you work out solutions for them.
Right. Good question. See, as far as apartment living goes, Mumbai is very used to it because it's been happening for decades there. Whereas in the newer cities like Bangalore, Pune and the developing areas of Chennai, apartment living is a new concept. And most of these apartment complexes are very large with a lot of amenities, clubhouse and things like that. So when you and I buy an apartment, we think about, okay, wow, I would have a swimming pool right in my complex. My kids will, get to participate in a lot of culturals and tuition classes or hobby classes and all that. There will be security because I have a traveling kind of a job. I travel very often, so my family will be secure in this gated community and so on. So we buy this apartment when we get in. Most of those expectations are fulfilled. But then something beautiful happens. People get together and they think that, hey, there is so much more we can do together. One of those aspects have been sustainability. People wonder, why are we paying so much for water? Are we all wasting water? Are some of the flats wasting water and things like that? So one of the apartment complexes in OMR, Seabrose Boulevard, they actually have an individual water meter in every flat so that everyone is made accountable for the amount of water they are using. And they pay for that, just like you do your electricity bill.
Absolutely.
So there is no common water bill. So for that, actually, ApartmentADDA is useful because they're using our water billing. We have a water billing utility tracker and all those bills are generated automatically and people pay online using credit card. So like this, there are many sustainability initiatives. I'll give you an example. In Bangalore, there is an apartment community which has become 100% self-sufficient when it comes to water. They do not take the state's water supply and they do not buy tanker.
So how exactly do they
They
manage?
are recycling the sewage treatment water, plant ka water.
Wow.
Yes.
And this is for drinking and cooking purposes as well?
Yes. So right from their sewage treatment plant, it goes through multiple treatments and then the pipe is directly going to the kitchen.
Right, so they keep recycling and reusing.
Exactly.
Is
and
that
they
actually good?
and they do rainwater harvesting.
Oh, okay.
In fact, that's what the state does. Where do you think our water comes from? It's actually being treated and fed back to us, just that we don't see it.
All right.
But here you have these people with that mindset where they very much know that, this is happening, and that's absolutely fine with them. So that's the best thing about living in an apartment complex, that you're actually getting people with similar mindset as yours, and they together want to bring in a change. Something actually that becomes a benchmark for the government to learn from, So you have the opportunity to build that, model city of your own, if you've got the right kind of people living in your complex and right kind of tools.
Wow. So it's not just about wanting it, but if you have the right set of people living with you.
Yes.
And you're saying an entire apartment, 100 apartments in Bangalore is now self-sufficient when it comes to its
water. It's a 100 apartment complex.
Now, if
exactly.
that is replicated across the country,
just imagine.
Wow. Yes. That's fabulous. On that note, we will come back for one last bit. Stay tuned and stay happy. Good morning, Chennai. This is Metro Mornings. You're with me, Jane, on Chennai Live, 104.8 FM. On this beautiful morning on Metro Mornings, we have a beautiful guest who joins us. This is Sangeeta Banerjee. She's come down from Bangalore and she currently lives there. But what she's at the helm of is something very interesting. It's called ApartmentADDA.com, India's leading portal for apartment and villa communities, a one-stop portal to multiple dwelling units owners' needs. And it's very interesting because it's got a system of integrated billing, accounting. It's an online management software that gets you to communicate with each other, to maintain, whatever requires maintenance in your set of apartments for billing, accounting, and also a payment gateway. Very interesting concept. Well, Sangeeta, good morning and welcome back to Metro Mornings.
Thanks, Jane.
All right. So you took us through a whole set of utilities and how living today has kind of evolved, and when you're living with a community or with a whole bunch of other apartments, how exactly can you become self-sufficient with the right tools? That's what we've been talking about. I'm really impressed by the fact that there is a set of 100 apartments in Bangalore that treats its own sewage water and does not look at any other external source for its water requirements, and all because they decided to get together and replenish resources that's available to them naturally. That's fantastic. Welcome back to the show, Sangeeta.
Sure.
All right, so tell us a little bit about what are some of the other things that you've discovered with ApartmentADDA.
See, one of the things that keeps the management committee awake in the night are the financials of the apartment complex. Mm-hmm. So when I say management committee, what do I mean? I mean those, 5 to 11 owners, apartment owners, who are elected to be part of the managing committee.
Right.
So one of them is a treasurer who is in charge of all the financial, they collect the maintenance charges from the residents, and they are in charge of making payments to the vendors.
Right.
And there's always pressure from owners to reduce maintenance charges, and there's always a suspicion that you guys are doing some golmaal with the money and all that stuff. So most management committees think that being part of this management committee is a thankless job, mainly because of this.
Right.
The financial
you're always
management
unnecessarily in the spotlight.
Yes.
Right.
And you're managing public money with very little authority, so to speak. Now, there's a good example. There's an apartment, a 500 apartment complex in Bangalore, where the treasurer was an engineer. He knew nothing of accounting. He was in his career, he was really high up. He was with Oracle, but he became the treasurer because nobody else raised their hands.
Right.
So he had to. Now, the accounts were kept in tally, and he knew nothing about tally. And he's like, how do I understand how my expenses are going? Where do I reduce? Where do I, what collection do I have to increase and things like that? And then he took on ApartmentADDA, and he pretty much learned accounting using it. Where I used to get queries from him in the night, like 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. and all, where he would come back from work all tired, and then he will sit to learn accounting so that he can manage the financials of the apartment complex well. And he was highly discouraged by, it's mainly the more of the senior citizens who were like, when it comes to accounting, you should use nothing other than, whatever is the established software. You should try nothing new and all that. But this man, he took the risk, he learned it all, and he moved it. And he got a standing ovation from the residents because every resident could see online, the cash flow that's happening in the apartment complex and the expenses, how the common area electricity bill trends are and all that stuff. So it was amazing, the feedback that he had for, bringing the entire offline accounting to online, where everyone has a transparency into the finances.
So that's fabulous. So there's no one who's nitpicking or pointing fingers.
Yes.
End of the day, everything is transparent, and it's very simple. Once you learn the basics, I guess everything is out there online. So if anybody is listening in today, especially apartment owners who are disgruntled at this point, ApartmentADDA is a great way to solve their issues. Makes it simple. Do you also have like an account manager who's servicing each set of apartments?
Yeah. So we have a dedicated support person who will be, looking at making sure they are deployed well, their issues are all resolved, and they are informed of all the updates we do, because the portal is continuously being updated. There are a lot of changes that are happening in apartment living as such.
Right.
So like piped gas, like there are apartment complexes where they don't get their own cylinders, but the association has a cylinder bank from which the pipe goes to every flat.
Right.
So that billing also happens on ApartmentADDA. So a lot of these changes that are happening in apartment living immediately is reflected on the product.
Right.
So they're all ready to take it on.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that there was a common pool of gas cylinders from which you could access gas.
Right.
Safety wise, is that safe?
Yes. So
it's
they take
safe
care
as well?
of. Yes, it's
so
as safe as having it in your house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fabulous. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this with us, Sangeeta. But as a business, I'm just curious to know, how does it impact your ROIs and your day-to-day expenses and the monies that you make? How does it float as a good business?
The subscription we charge is very less. It is rupees 20 per flat per month. But then the volume kind of makes up for it, because now more and more large apartment complexes are being built.
How many apartment complexes are enrolled with you across the country now?
See, we have around 6,000 plus apartment complexes that are using one or the other packages of ApartmentADDA.
6,000
We also have
plus.
a free package. Yes.
Nice.
See, when an apartment complex gets started, they don't have common fund to pay for a software, but still they want to communicate and things like that. So we have a basic package which just fits right for this segment of apartment complexes. And once they start taking the handover from the builder for the maintenance, they subscribe to our paid package.
Okay.
So overall, we've been doing well. We've been able to open our second office in Mumbai. Our first office was in Bangalore and then in Mumbai, after which we got funded by some really eminent angel investors. And now we are in 6 cities, including Chennai.
All right. So you're in Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi?
Gurgaon, Pune and Kolkata.
Wow. And do you also have tie-ups with builders?
There are quite a few builders who are using ApartmentADDA for these are the more transparent type of builders who want to follow some ethics and
But otherwise, it is by and large communities in itself.
Yes.
They are the ones who actually use it.
That's right.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing your insight. What's your final shout out to Chennai listening in today?
Well, I just say that if you're living in an apartment complex, just make it the paradise you want it to be. If you're looking for a technology, ApartmentADDA is there for you.
All right, lots more coming up in just a little bit. Stay tuned and stay happy.